Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but I answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon night's off me, I'm living life now that I'm free, yeah. Told me get myself together, now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather, better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy, the carbon night is gone. I'm moving on, I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. Shades of pepper up my eyes, I'm jumping in my ride, I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side, I'm jumping in my Falcon, Wookiee at my side. I'm solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, solo. I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, solo. Now I'm feeling how I should join the alliance, it feels so good. Oh, stop feeling misunderstood. Back in the game, who knew I would? Oh, so fly time I spread my wings. Loving myself makes me wanna sing. No, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Told me get my act together, now I got my act together. Yeah, now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy, the carbon night is gone. I'm moving on, I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. Shades of pepper up my eyes, I'm jumping in my ride, I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side, I'm jumping in my Falcon, Wookiee at my side. I'm solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, I'm hot and solo, solo. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but I answer to.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. I'm Seth, one of your hosts, and here's the other one.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm
your host, Caleb. we had to go old school today with how we're running things because I forgot the cables.
Yep. It happens sometimes.
It happens, you know. It's
like, in terms of show mistakes, this one is like far from the worst one.
No, like, and this is one that like all I have to do is start the recording from over there and then walk over here.
Yep.
Like it's very easily resolved.
Yeah.
The two common issues that we have that you're gonna see on the show is either our mics are off.
Yep.
or I do this mistake where I have to, and really those are two very easily solvable
Yeah.
issues, and therefore if that's the worst we're gonna have,
That's pretty good.
yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm just checking everything on the phone,
Oh yeah.
so that way I can still see what people are saying, and there's a bit of a delay. There's your arm swinging.
Okay, I wanted to
Yeah, but I just want to be able to see what people are commenting and all that stuff.
yeah.
So we were there's one piece of news, I guess I mentioned that
Yeah.
because you were like, hey, what are we any new stuff? Not really. The biggest piece of news is that Saul is gonna be in Andor season 2.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. I know. Who would have
What a
guessed?
surprise.
Who would have guessed? Saul in the prequel show for Rogue One, a film in which Saul is a main character? Who would have guessed? Where he'd be butting heads, most likely, with the other head of the Rebel Alliance that we know of that is also in the show, Mon Mothma.
What a surprise.
I'm being sarcastic because there are actually people that are like surprised. Yes, exactly. And there are even people that are complaining, and it's like, what? This is a character we know so little about that, despite being in so many projects.
You know.
Because think about it, he's in Clone Wars.
Yeah. It's like
He's in Clone
we
Wars.
know
He's in
what
Rebels.
Saw does, but we don't know that much about the man himself.
Yeah, because he's in Clone Wars, Bad Batch,
Mhm.
Rebels, Andor, Rogue One. We've seen basically his entire lifespan. We don't know his childhood years, but we
Yeah.
know like young adult to death.
Yeah.
Because Clone Wars is his young adult, and really it's his origin of why he's the way he is, in terms of like why he views that the partisans have to be as militaristic as they are compared to the rebels. Because the rebels are not as militaristic.
They're not.
Like
They're
still
do
a
fight.
yeah.
They are a military force, but they're not as for
Forward
lack of a
about
better
it.
term, hardcore about it.
Yeah. But you understand why if you've seen Clone Wars.
Hmm.
Now, you don't have to agree with his methods. Because you don't have to, because some of his methods can be viewed as over the top and a little past where they need to be. But you can understand him as a character still, and he shouldn't be villainized either.
Mm.
Which is what a lot of people like to do too. Like, they like to villainize him and be like, oh, he's... No.
Sauce out here. I'm fighting a corrupt regime with infinite resources. It's kind of hard to do that sometimes.
I'd say the worst thing he does is try to finish exterminating the Geonosians and Rebels.
Oh,
That's probably the worst thing. But outside of that, like, I'd say his other stuff where I'd say the other only dangerous part of him is that he's willing to start battles with citizens caught in the middle, like we see in Rogue One.
just
With that street battle in Jeddah, like the first time
yeah.
we see the partisans in Rogue One. Like, the kid crying and Jin having to save them.
yeah. I do like how in that Andor's like, yo, Cassian's like, we need to hurry the fuck up while we're here.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, even then, you could argue that the rebels are still just as bad, because our first scene with Cassian is him straight up murdering one of their own people just so, like, they don't get caught with the information that he just got given.
Yeah, it is a thing of like, this is one of those things where I'm like, I get it. I get why you did that.
Still a terrible thing,
Like,
but I get it.
This is the business. This is the business. He knew.
Like,
He may not have expected Cassian to fucking do it, but I'm like, he understood the risks.
it's one of those things where, though, you wonder if Mon Mothma knew, which probably not. 'Cause
I doubt it.
knowing Mothma, that is not the way she would want things to be operated.
Yeah.
She'd be like, no, we don't kill our own people. What?
Cassian's out here like,
To be fair, it wasn't like Cassian's choice. That's an order from his superior
Yeah.
guy. Like, that's something that he would have... Well, in this case, Cassian had the choice. But, like, when it comes to, like, Galen, he had the order to kill Galen. So we start to see like the rebels aren't so shiny perfect either in Rogue One, and the Andor show is also showing that.
Yeah.
And so having Saul in the show as another juxtaposition of that continues to just kind of prove that.
Like, I think one of the things is you might come to the conclusion that I don't care much for Mon Mothma. And it's not that I have anything against the woman.
You just disagree with the way she...
I don't even mind that, like, she's a lot
pacifist?
more pacifistic.
She's not more pacifistic. She is a pacifist. Like, that's her whole thing. It's why she gets rid of an official military once she becomes the first Supreme Chancellor for the New Republic.
Yeah, that
Sorry,
worked out.
Chancellor, because they get rid of the Supreme part.
Thanks.
They realize that sounds a little...
What if I called myself Super President? No, it's just President. Why was that necessary? It's like, I don't really mind it. I get it, but I'm also like, sometimes, Miss Mothma, your idealism kind of gets in the way of the reality of the situation.
You and a lot of people I know would agree on that point.
But I understand it. I really want it to work.
Yeah, there's a lot of... I mean,
but that's just not going to work.
I get caught up in the...
I don't hate you.
I feel like too many people blame... I'm going to get myself in some trouble with some mutuals here because I've made this argument before. I think too many people blame Mon Mothma for the rise of the First Order.
I mean, that was going to happen either way.
But the fact that they're able to get such power so quickly, like, they blame Mothma, but realistically, one, by the time of Mandalorian even, which is really when they're starting, when the First Order's starting to kick into gear, what they're doing, as we see in Season 3, which we'll discuss next week. That's next week's topic.
Okay, that's what next week's is.
The Mothma's no longer Chancellor by that point, which the most she did to potentially cause this gear to turn is she removed a official military from the Republic.
Yeah.
Thing is, though, she did not say planets couldn't have their own military either.
Yeah.
Like, which is traditionally how the Republic ran anyways before the Clone Wars happened.
Yeah.
Like, traditionally, every planet had their own specific, like, personal military. If they wanted one.
You know what's a good place to recruit soldiers from in Star Wars?
What's that?
Eriadu.
Oh, yeah.
But then again, the last guy from Eriadu was
not a great guy.
Not a good person.
Yeah, not a great guy. But yeah, so, like, and then, like, once evidence started showing up of the First Order and Leia tried to sound the alarm, Bloodlines novel, by then we were about 9 years out from the Force Awakens, which means Mothma was definitely not in charge, and the people who were in charge did not want to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's why Leia creates the Resistance, because she basically, as our friend Scotty, who's been on the show before, likes to call it, she goes G.I. Joe and starts her own little personal military that's not official.
Yep.
She starts the G.I. Joes. And so, like, I don't blame Mothma for the First Order. I blame the continuation of the bureaucracy where they don't view any of the signs as signs. And that's not Mothma's fault. Mothma was a peaceful time leader. And therefore, peaceful time leaders call for peaceful time resolutions and laws. But when you start to see signs of non-peaceful times approaching, it is your job as whoever is the leader at that point to start making their own legislation. Yeah. And it's no longer Mothma's fault.
I'm not...
And that's my argument on the Mothma of it all. I know not everybody will agree with me. I have a lot of friends who don't.
I'm not...
But that's my take.
Once again, I'm like, all right, I think the thing that, like, I personally dislike about Mothma, and it's not entirely her fault, it's just the mess of a situation that is, like, with her husband and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's not.
And that one,
all your
that's
fault.
a case.
That's kind of everyone in this room fucked up.
Yeah, that's a case of everybody's kind of fucked up. Although Daddy
He's certainly not helping
he's not
in
helping,
any metric.
and I don't really like him at all. Like,
I
Perrin,
don't
yeah,
have
Perrin.
contempt for him,
But
I also am like, it's another case of like,
he is somebody who is inviting literal enemies.
you're an idiot.
He's literally inviting his wife's enemies into their house to party.
Yeah, they're not gonna fucking assassinate her in her own
Well,
home.
no, but like,
it is
you don't
much like
no politician
didn't-
brings their political enemies to their
you
house
didn't
for
go to like
dinner.
a neutral ground.
Yeah, like you don't usually bring your own political enemies to your house. Like, when was the last time you saw somebody from our Senate be like, "Hey, so and so, I'm having a party, a big dinner party. Would you like to go?" No, no.
Although that is a fucking move, I guess.
I mean,
A wild one, because it's like, why the fuck did you do this?
the biggest thing
Like,
that
if Mothma herself had done it, that would be the reaction.
Mhm.
But because it's her husband,
it should still be wild.
It is. But I'm also someone who's like, I don't care. It's a room full of politicians having like snide comments and arguments back and forth.
I find it
And
funny.
getting nothing done.
Here's why I don't trust Perrin's taste.
Okay.
He says Sly Moore is a party animal. There's no way Sly Moore is a party animal.
We don't know. We don't see her in her off hours. All I see this woman
I mean,
do
most
is
of the time,
want to kill Vader
I was about to
in the
say,
Emperor.
most of the time in
That's
her,
what she does.
I was about to say in her off hours, she's mostly trying to kill Vader.
She's like, I just want this Vader guy dead. I don't care how it happens.
Usually trying to get the droid crush to do it.
Yeah,
Does not go well
it's
for
not
them ever.
working.
We really drifted off from like Andor news, but we stayed on topic for the
Yeah.
most part. It was adjacent.
Also, New Republic. Like, you might also think I have contempt for the New Republic, which is true, because I'm like, I remember seeing, of course, with our pilot friend who talks to Mando.
Teva.
Yeah, and him trying to get things to go through. I remember the scene where he comes into the office. He's like, "Hey, could I get official approval for this?" And I'm like,
You already know that's not happening.
"That's not happening." It's very much a case of, why the fuck would you even bother asking?
I think Mando knew though and was just fucking with him. He was like, "Okay, but we're doing this anyways."
Yeah, we don't need your fucking approval.
Because what are you gonna do? It's gonna take you forever to stop me.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you like to go and get the search warrant now? It's gonna take you a month and a half to get it.
if that. Anyway,
If you get it at all.
yeah. So let's jump into the actual topic for today.
Oh.
I don't have my button with me because my computer's over there. So we're just gonna say spoiler warning for Quest for Planet X,
Yes.
which is the second of the junior novels for the High Republic Phase 2. So it's the last of the junior novels for Phase 2.
Yay.
Only one more book left in Phase 2. Our journey in Phase 2 is almost over. How do you feel? Is it kind of bittersweet? You're kind of ready to get to Phase 3 and see what's going on with our friends there?
Yeah, no.
You kind of want it. You're like me. I kind of
I'm
want.
actually okay with it ending.
Okay. I kind of want one more book each. So one, like, junior novel, adult novel. I kind of wish they did 3 waves like they did with Phase 1.
I think for me, I don't know.
You went a little rogue there.
I think that for me, Phase 2 has done what it set out to do, give more information and the context for why a lot of things are the way they are. However, I will be sad to see the lack of Creighton's son in my future.
Well, who's to say he's not around? I mean, it's a long time to live for a human, but who's to say? The Force can extend life.
For a normal human to 160 years.
Who's to say?
Maybe not.
Who's to say?
I feel like it's more like
it's a stretch,
notes that they're gonna find.
yeah, like it's a stretch, but who's to say?
Yeah. Also, Yaddle calling Yoda old.
I mean, that is true though, comparatively.
That's true, but she's like, I don't want to say that in front of Sippa. Because she'll tell Yoda I call.
I'll wait for the rest of phase 2 questions that I have in mind, because I already have some questions that I want to talk about, but I'm gonna save those for when we read Path of Vengeance. So since it makes sense with that being the last book, then we can.
Yeah.
Well, we still have the manga.
That's true. I want to see how well that's going.
Because we haven't had our Master Arkoff and what's his name from Path of Deceit. Because there was that Jedi who found the dead bodies on Dona.
Like, I'm looking. Everyone's like, what is this particular Jedi doing? He's like, I'm looking into something.
I'm surprised he just disappeared from the rest of the friend.
Like, I'm doing a private investigation.
Because wasn't he going to Jeddah?
I think so.
And then we just hear nothing of this character ever since. And then because I figured he'd be the one sounding the alarms of the dead Jedi on Dona. But no, we actually, big spoilers for Quest for Planet X. This is the first book that name drops our dead Jedi.
Yeah.
Since they died, Kevmo and Master Zalamakri.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've had them name drop since they died.
And it's in the middle of it's kind of at the end of the book.
Yeah.
And it's
I'd say near the middle-ish.
60% mark, maybe 70.
Yeah.
And it's Rupert.
It's an important moment.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the premise a little bit first before we get into the weeds here. So the premise is that we get the return of Rupert and we get the return of the Left-Brooks, Das, and Spence. And Spence isn't as important this time. He's kind of just...
Mom Left-Brook. She's dead.
Well, she's been dead. She was dead.
But it is a very, she is important to the story. And there is a devastating lie that happens real early.
So, Das has signed... Well, the Left-Brooks have signed up for this competition. That's... what was it called again?
The Great
Hyperspace Chase, yeah. Which is basically a race to get new hyperspace routes.
Yes.
And it's for all the hyperspace prospectors to basically their chance to make it big.
Yeah.
And they sign up with a bunch of corporations to sponsor them. And in this case, the Left-Brooks have signed up under the famous Santecas.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Graphs and the Santecas are co-sponsoring the event.
Yeah.
Because they're your Apple and PC of
they are.
It's like, I got an Apple, I got a PC. Remember those ads?
God.
Hi, I'm an Apple and I'm a PC. Yeah, I'm showing my age here a little bit.
I was thinking about, so when I first heard the Graphs are involved, and my brain went, okay, here we go.
I want to talk off screen about because I've been reading the Santa Staros comic.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought about the Staros family as well, because they're also a big family that just continues down the line of Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to talk off screen, because one of my theories about Avon has been confirmed by the Staros comic about her studies of kyber crystals.
Okay. And for me, I'm like, oh, this is either going to go really well or really poorly.
In this case, it's kind of in between.
Yeah.
This book doesn't really end in tragedy, but it also doesn't... It's not a success either.
Yeah, that was the thing we did.
It's everybody lived, and on a grander scale, it was successful. Yeah. But in terms of there's the what's the term I'm looking for? There's the macro and the micro.
Yeah.
In the macro scale, yes, there's a huge success.
Yes.
Because in the macro scale, they managed to. This book really shows what happened. So last week I talked about in Cataclysm how like, oh, the beacons are important in this book.
Yeah.
They're the reason that the beacons get resolved.
Yep.
They
restored the cell towers to the sector basically.
Yeah, and so that's the macro victory.
Yeah.
And that's a victory that yes needed to happen. On the micro level of actually getting to Planet X does not happen.
Doesn't happen. Nobody won anything, but no one lost anything in this story.
I would say, though, at the same time...
Except maybe a little dignity.
I would say at the same time, character development happens.
Yes, I will agree with that.
And that's what makes this book still work.
Yes.
Because while some people would say, hey, it's like the filler arc, no.
No,
because it has character development. Because people kind of forget what actual, like, filler is.
This is an off-screen discussion we've had,
but
I don't know if it's been expressed publicly.
I don't think we have publicly, but like if character development happens or if something on the overall story arc happens, then that is not filler. Because filler, by definition, says that it can't have character development. It's just literally what it sounds like. It's filler.
We needed something for them to do on this one Friday.
It's the beach episode.
Yeah. And sometimes beach episodes can be, like, a nice bit of levity.
Yeah. I mean, you need sometimes people also forget that fillers are there to kind of give us a break from the heavy storytelling that sometimes is happening.
Maybe The Walking Dead could have used a beach episode or two.
I would say, though,
it wouldn't fit tonally.
No,
but...
I would say them walking through the woods for like a whole season is their filler, though, because like honestly, you could cut some of that walking through the forest in half, and you would still have a great season. Like Carol and Daryl don't need to be falling in love for like 20 episodes in the woods. That could have been cut in half. Like, I don't mind their romance arc, but it takes them way too long to get to the next location. I think them walking in the woods is before the which arc is it? Where they find the cannibal place. Yeah, I think it's like them. I think they lose the jail.
Railroad.
Yeah, they lose the jail, and then you get like 10 episodes of them walking through the forest, and then Terminus.
Yeah.
That could have been halved. Like we could have got to Terminus a little bit faster.
God.
But yeah, that's my opinion on filler. I know that's how I feel, anyways, based on like going by pure definition of what filler is. I don't think people understand filler. And I think in this case, some people might perceive this book as filler, and that's why I'm kind of saying now before that conversation gets thrown in.
Okay.
Because like, it's character development is what we're getting, because we get Rupert's development, where I'd almost say that she almost matures enough to become a knight.
Almost there. If I was Rupert's teacher, I would be like, okay.
So if you were Salandra.
If I was Salandra, I'd be like, okay, you just need to go on one more mission.
Or at least do your trials.
Or do your trials, and then you're good.
Yeah. Because I would recommend Rupert for the trials after this. Like, because that's, when you're a Jedi apprentice of age, eventually, after a maturity level is viewed by your master, they usually recommend you for the trials, and that can be whatever, depending on what the council sees fit.
Yeah.
Or you could say skip the trials because you've lived enough experiences that such and such event in your life acted as the trial, which is what happened with Anakin. Is like they're like, yeah, the Clone Wars was essentially your like we see in Brotherhood. They're like, yeah, this has been your trial, so we're just gonna raise. We're gonna we're gonna forgo that. Same thing kind of with a lot of our Jedi in Phase 1.
Yeah.
They're like
it's fucking Nihil or the Drangir.
That's your trial. Go. You're done.
You're done.
You did it. You're a knight. And then in the course of course, in the case of Comac, he's like, also, as your dad, I'm leaving. I'm going to go get some cigarettes.
As your not father, I'm going to go get some milk. And I'll stop by the library.
Going to get a pack of cigarettes.
I'll see you in a few years. To be fair, though, Comac is just like, I need to leave now, otherwise I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Yeah. He's like, you have been knighted, you're cared for, see ya.
Bye.
It's like, but I still need advice now that I'm a knight.
Oh, you're on your own, kid. Oh, man.
That has to be like the worst out of the ones that were knighted. Everybody else was like, "No, we're still here." And then yeah, I was right, Lula. She's decided to wait because she's like, "I could, but I don't know if emotionally I'm ready," which is actually very mature.
Yeah, it's like maybe I'm not ready yet.
It's very mature, and I think it shows that she is more ready than she's willing to give. But the masters also during this era respect them enough to be like, yeah, we're not going to push it.
I'm like, what do you mean? Lone Great Star pushes kids off of cliffs all the time.
But he doesn't. But I don't think he.
No, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I don't think he would emotionally push.
You know how to stop yourself from falling? What?
That's more of a God, I want to reference the D&D movie so badly because there's this. But you also still haven't seen it yet.
No, and I'm probably not going to.
I feel like it's a movie you would like. We'll watch that together at some point. Once it's out for home release, we'll watch that.
That reminds me. Do you? I don't have any reason to not ask this now. So we do some stuff on Tuesday nights, typically like a D&D game or stuff. But sometimes we have to wait for other people to show up.
So we'll just do whatever.
Yeah. So, do you want to continue Berserk 97 or continue with Tekken Bloodline?
Let's do Tekken because that's gonna be shorter.
Okay.
Because we're already almost halfway. We're a third through it.
Yeah, we're like 2 out of 6 episodes.
So we're a third. Yeah. So whereas the Berserk, once we finish the original, I want to go to the movies and then I want to watch the new show and the movies after. Okay. Basically, watch release order.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, like this has a lot of character development. We also get Das's character development.
Yeah.
Das gets a lot.
Das is no longer a scared child.
And he's only 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only 12.
He's not like super old. He's not like a teenager.
Yeah, whereas Rupert, I get the idea that she's 14, 16.
Rupert is stated as being 15.
Okay, 15. Okay, I was in the right range.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that fits. So, yeah, so Das gets a lot of character development because the storyline. So basically, Das, going back to the premise, Das separates from his dad and is hired on by a Graf named Sky.
Yes. As Grafs go, we're doing pretty good. Yeah,
they are, and they go by they them, so that's why I'm gonna.
Oh.
That's why the book said whenever they're talking about Sky, it says they.
Okay.
Yeah. So they are the least sketchy of all Grafs.
Yeah, they are.
Honestly, so is their brother.
Yeah,
their brother's not that sketchy either. He's just very protective and
he wants his ship.
And he wants his ship back because it turns out Sky stole their brother's ship, mainly because they're claiming that technically they also own part of the ship because they did all the mechanical and interior design stuff for it. Like really, their brother just bought the ship and then they did the work for the design. Is what Sky says, anyways. And I think their brother even confirms that, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
It's basically, I
gave you permission to work on my ship, but I didn't say you could fly it.
Yeah. It's like, I funded and made the code for it, you made the hardware for it, kind of thing.
And so, Graf hires out Das, meaning that Spence is working for the Sentekas alone, which is fine because Spence kind of hints that he wasn't going to take Das with them anyways, because they're scared about stuff
after their incident on Gloam.
Yeah,
which I'm like, I get it. I probably wouldn't be like wanting to go and do anything.
Yeah,
like this, considering what happened last time.
And so Das is hired out by Sky, but it's kind of like they're both getting something out of this.
Yeah.
Basically, the quest is to get to Planet X.
Yep.
Sky has the ship and the money and resources to do it. Das kind of knows the location, and that's what their Sky is counting on. And then they kind of trick Rupert along.
Yeah.
Because
Rupert's like, I'm being tricked. I know I'm being tricked, but these are my friends, so I'll do it anyway.
Or at least Das is my friend.
Das is my friend, so I'll do it anyway.
If not, to look out for him, because I'm not sure about this Sky person.
Yeah.
And so it becomes so instead of them actually participating in the race proper, it becomes them trying to get to Planet X,
Yeah.
as the book title suggests. And it's the way that they're doing it is Sky has this kind of old, almost a compass device that, like, I think it's force connected. Like, and they kind of hint that it might be, but they're never like, we're not sure. Like, because there's no, like, because Rupert feels something emanating from it.
Yeah.
But, like, they're like, it could also just be really highly advanced scientific stuff that we just can't figure out.
It's either one or the other.
Yeah.
It's at that point where it's like,
It's
maybe magic, maybe tech.
It's so scientifically advanced that it could be magic at this point.
Yeah, it's like, it might as well be.
Because the way it works is it has to have something that connects to where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
And it basically acts... It's basically like Jack Sparrow's compass in the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I think that's the best way to kind of...
Yeah.
And so, like...
You know, for a long time, I didn't understand exactly what the fuck the deal with the compass was. I was like...
Well, the deal is it goes to wherever you want most.
Yeah. I didn't understand that. And I saw that film, like, when it first came out as a kid. But I didn't understand that. Because everyone was just like, your compass is fucking broken, Jack.
And you're just, as a kid, thinking, why are you keeping this trash compass?
Yeah. Why do you keep using this piece of shit?
Of course, now you
Now
understand
I understand that that's not what it does.
It's magic.
Yeah.
It's literally magic. It literally goes to where you want most. And so that's why, depending who's holding it, it could be going to Will Turner, in the case of Elizabeth, that one time, because one time it leads her literally to Will. And then, of course, in the case of Jack, it could be anything.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the first movie, it's how to get to the secret island that's where the cursed treasure of Cortez is.
Yep.
And then in the second one, it's locating the heart of Davy Jones. And
Fucking character.
honestly, I like the Pirates. I like 1 through 3.
They're good.
And I like 5. 4 is where it kind of... I think when they focus on purely Jack is where it kind of gets off the rails, because Jack works better as a secondary protagonist. He works as the comic relief who, while is a protagonist, he's not the focal point.
Yeah.
And while 2 and 3 kind of make him more of a focal point, it's still about Elizabeth and Will.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I do...
But yeah, so the way the device works is Sky hires Das on specifically because Das has to connect to the compass.
Yes. And it's basically, we're just gotta retrace steps.
At least that's how the compass ends up working out. Because at least at first they're like, oh, it's going to lead us directly there. And then it turns out, no, it's pretty much going backwards from what Das knows. And yeah.
And it's like right when they get to Abatis and Gloam at the end, it's like...
where they realize that they have to do the right thing to go help out some people over...
Yeah, it's like we're one
over at
step
Jeddah.
away.
Yeah, they go to, like, near Jeddah space.
Dalna,
that's right. Yeah, Dalna. Because everybody's leaving Jeddah and going to Dalna.
Everyone's leaving Jeddah. And they're like... This guy's like, we're one jump away. I could just fucking do it.
And this entire time, their brother is chasing them, by the way, going,
Give
I
me
want
my
my ship.
fucking ship back, Sky.
Piloting his girlfriend, who is a Santeca ship, to do it, by the way. We kind of get a pre-Last Jedi hyperspace tracking device in this, except it's not actually a tracking device. It's literally just I programmed the ship.
Dum-dum.
So so basically, what's their name again?
Helis?
Helis, yeah.
Yeah.
Helis, Sky's brother. Basically, when he programmed the ship, he put in his own security code to where he can track where the ship is going, because it's his property.
He's like, I turned on the Find My iPhone thing in this ship.
Essentially. Now, they'd figure this out and then find a way to unplug it. And so... in between these jumps, though, they run into a Path member,
Felix.
Felix, who we know. We've seen him before. Path of Deceit.
I'm like, I'm glad you showed up in the children's book, Felix, because you would not
be happy in Cataclysm.
You would not be happy in Cataclysm.
Um,
or the Battle of Jeddah.
And I doubt you'll be happy in Path of Vengeance. I feel like Path of Vengeance gonna be very brutal.
Yeah.
I have a very good
I
feeling.
have a sneaking suspicion based on the name.
Well, also just what we know has to go down.
Yeah.
Because there's like certain things that haven't happened yet. Like Mother hasn't really faced any consequences for her actions yet.
No, she hasn't.
And I feel like Mother's gonna take the brunt of the blame of everything that goes down.
Yeah.
Because I think Marta and Yana are gonna get away with everything, and because they kind of have to for the Nihil to happen. And we're starting to see one of the big things that continues in this book is the open hand versus the closed fist.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the closed fist kind of become an even bigger deal still. And I think the closed fist is what's going to become the Nihil.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the open hand is kind of like the more gentle nudging, like, other than some of the stuff that the Mother's done. But, like, for the most part, the open hand kind of views themselves as a peaceful group.
The open hand under the Mother's leadership at the moment, I feel like, is we can't take the Jedi in an open conflict. So we have to use all these, like,
subtle
secret power plays.
Although the general populace of the open hand, I don't think everybody's in on what's going on.
Yeah.
And we know that for sure because in this book Felix is like,
yeah,
I didn't know that we were getting violent about this.
Like,
he's like, I just thought we were shutting down these broadcast things so we could show the Jedi and the Republic we don't want them out here.
Yeah, I figure that's where it was stopping. I didn't know that we were just because the Battle of Jeddah is happening.
It's happened. It's
happened or
it's near the end.
Near the end.
Yeah.
Because
I get the feeling from Cataclysm and this book that everything from the Battle of Jeddah onwards is within like the same week span.
Yeah.
Like I think the Battle of Jeddah happens, the Battle of Jeddah is still going on, and we get the beginnings of Cataclysm, and then we get the Battle of Jeddah finishes, and then the Battle of Dhalna immediately happens right after, like within like the same week.
Yeah. And it's big news, bad week for Jedi.
I mean, for everybody.
Yeah, for a lot of people, especially Dalmats.
Yeah. And Iriadu, I mean, not Arona and Iram and Arano. Arano, yeah.
Yep.
Iram and Arano, which are all in the same system because Donna's in that same system.
Yep.
Which is why Donna's affected by all this, and
Donna's like, we just want to fucking grow our.
Because Donna's like,
we just want to grow our cord, man.
Because Donna's like, we want the war to end just as badly as they do, and then.
See, I just want to grow my corn and potatoes, but there's a war going on in the other side of the neighborhood, which makes it very difficult to grow corn and potatoes.
But I mean,
also I like Felix.
He gets a lot of character growth for a character who was like very much a tertiary character in Path of Deceit. Like, the most that we know about him is like, oh yeah, Kevmo saves my family.
Yep.
Because I mean, and he mentions in this book, Kevmo saves his family from the flood, and he's like, yeah, I appreciate what the Jedi did, but also I don't like what they do with the Force.
Yep.
He also doesn't think that Kevmo deserved to die.
Yeah,
but he's like, if that's what the Force willed.
It's like the Lord killed him. I'm sorry your friend didn't.
And I think he also doesn't realize that the Leveler was sicked on him. Like,
yeah, he doesn't.
Because that's the other thing that the Mother and I think once again separates the open hand from the closed fist. Closed fist is purposefully, knowingly sending the Leveler at people
to go. The Mother is kind of like
she's doing it on purpose.
Reserve.
Yeah, and she's doing it on purpose, but she's making sure that the public open hand members don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, she doesn't get to control it anyways because Yana's the one with the stick. Yana has the talking stick.
The command stick for the leveler. She can mark a target
Yeah.
as hostile or friendly.
She's got the ranger target ability. Mark target. Yeah, that's what it is, right?
Not mark.
Hunter's mark.
Hunter's mark. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got the ranger's hunter's mark.
I love that spell, but that's not. It doesn't.
I know it doesn't work that way, but
I wish it did.
It's a very useful.
I know it's great. People.
Yeah.
This is a little bit off.
Go
topic,
ahead, yeah.
but people who are like Rangers are underpowered in 5e. No, they're not. You just have to know what to do.
You have to know
when
to
do
use
it.
them.
Yeah.
I loved being my barbarian when I was for your game. Tenaruk was great. I mean, I think also people don't take advantage of the, because I think people worry about because you can take advantage when you're in rage, and I think people worry about the fact that your enemies also get advantage on you.
Reckless attack.
Yeah, reckless attack. I think people don't implement reckless, because they're worried about the fact that now they could hit me more likely too. Except you're a barbarian and you have a high AC usually, so even with this,
and
even with that, you're less likely to still get hit.
Yeah. Plus, even if you do, you have health, a lot more health usually.
Yep. So I'd say take advantage of reckless attack because you're a barbarian. God damn it.
Start hitting people.
And reckless attack, I mean, they can't swing at you if you kill them.
Yeah. What are they gonna do? Complain about it? They're dead. There's no complaint department in the afterlife, is there?
But yeah, so I think the closed fist is actively like full on like
they're like we're gonna take them all out.
They're exactly what their group sounds like. They're yeah, and so they're definitely leading towards the Nihil with that.
They are. Even like we've talked about, Felix is the first chapter of this book, and he's seeing Marta, and he's like, "That's not the Marta I used to know."
He's like, "You're kind of different. There's something darker about you."
Marta, you good? And she's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry." Marta's like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill them all." And Felix is like, "Are you good, man?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm good. Just don't worry about it. Go say goodbye to your family and get all your."
Now, because so far Phase 2 has been like perpendicular storytelling.
Yeah.
I hope we get a lot of information on Marta with Path of Vengeance because we don't know why she's become this dark yet. Because she's not really that dark by the end of Path of Deceit. Like she's angry at the Jedi to a certain degree, but not to the level that I would see her starting the closed fists.
Yeah, so something else has to happen. I guess maybe stuff from the Battle of Jeddah, because we know she was there.
We know she was there. Yana was obviously there because Yana was controlling the Nameless there.
Seem quite. I don't know. Maybe some people have a lower tolerance for what makes people go a little bit murder happy.
Yeah. Because I just don't see it yet.
It's not quite there yet. She needs
and this isn't a complaint. And I don't think this is a complaint with how the storytelling's going. I think we're supposed to wonder this. I think these are things that we're purposefully supposed to be asking because I think they want us to be thinking about it.
Like, if I was a manipulative bastard, I'm and wanted to make Marta just as violent as possible against the Jedi, I'd be like, this is good, but she needs one more
what's that
nudge.
What's that final?
What's that one more bad day before she's like...
And I think we're going to get it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think these are questions we're supposed to be asking. I think the way that the authors are working on this, we're supposed to be wondering this because I think they're purposefully leaving that info out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would have told us already.
Yeah. Also, I like Felix, once the thing happens where he's like, okay, I guess I'm stuck with these.
Oh yeah, because he gets stuck on board with their ship with Scott with the Skygraph and Rupert and Das because they stopped to help fix one of the beacons.
Yeah.
And it's the one that Felix and his family were like messing with
It's like,
and jamming.
shit.
And so they're like, well, we need more time to finish doing that. And so they board the Graf ship only for Rupert to catch them because she gives up one of her lightsabers to Felix,
Yeah.
but her other lightsaber is still within
Yep.
grasp. They don't kill anybody, but they come close to killing some Path
Yeah.
members.
Sky's like, I'll fucking do it. I'm a Graf. Don't you know what we do to people?
Which we do get some more. I mean, we get more references. This is a book that really heavily references Path of Deceit.
Yeah.
It's very much more of a sequel to Path of Deceit and Quest for the Hidden City. Because, like, I expected it to be a sequel for Quest for the Hidden City because it has characters from that book.
Yeah.
But it also is almost a perfect follow-up to Path of Deceit because there's a lot of stuff from that's continued in this book.
Yeah.
Like, they bring up the... oh, I forgot it now. Well, they bring up the hatching because you know Felix talks about how his kids were the hatchlings from that, and then there was something else that they brought up. Oh, I just lost it. It was right there, and then I lost it. Oh well, it'll come back to me. But they let the rest of the family go,
Yeah.
and
They were originally going to like let Felix go.
Oh,
as well.
I remember now. The Graf compound from Path of Deceit. They bring up that.
Oh yeah. About
Thalj. They bring up Thalj and everything that happened there about how the Path was working with them.
Yeah.
And then something went down, and we know what went down, but the wider public doesn't. Including some of the Graf members don't know because Sky has no clue.
Yeah.
Because he said,
Because
or they
that's-
say that that's their cousins, and they're like, our cousins operate differently.
They're basically. It's basically different members of the family will hire out different people.
Yep.
Because while we all work for the same company, all of us are allowed to basically
Operate
do as
separately.
we please.
Yeah.
And sometimes
certain family members do sketchy things.
yeah. Like Tilson.
Yeah. And so which Tilson's the one that was connected to the Thalj compound, I think.
Tilson is the one Dobbs fucking kills to make sure he's the only one.
Oh yeah. That's right. I thought that was the Santeca. I thought he killed a Santeca.
It
yeah.
might be.
Yeah, he killed a Santeca because Dobbs Dobbs
you're
kills
right.
the Santeca because
You're
Santeca
right.
was
Tilson
working.
is killed by the mother because he's an idiot
That's it.
who was like,
Yeah, that's the Battle for Jeddah. You're right.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
like, why did you do this? It's the one where I'm like, you're talking too much, man. Why did you implicate yourself? You should have just shut up and asked for help.
Yeah, but no,
But
Dobbs.
you tried to
yeah.
blackmail the mother thinking that was a good idea.
Yeah, Sunshine has killed a Santeca because they
Okay.
knew because Santeca was working with the Pathfinder group, and then they did the swap of information of hyperspace routes.
Yeah.
And Sunshine looked to make sure that Planet X wasn't on the routes, and he was like, "Oh, it's not there. Cool." Also, just to make sure though that nobody knows about this conversation.
Yep.
Even though I knew you didn't have what I made sure you didn't want to have, I just also don't want you to go blathering.
Yep. And in this book, Rupert.
Everybody's going through it.
They're going through it. Rupert's like, I want to talk to my master. I need to know.
That she's alive.
I need to know if my mom's okay. My not mom.
Yeah, which I almost forgot that she was alive because Rupert had me worried. I was like, I can't my brain at first was like, did she live or not? Is this book gaslighting me a bit? And then I remembered, I was like, just as I wrote a comment in our Discord about it, I deleted that comment because I remembered, oh yeah, she lives because she's the one because she's busy mourning our favorite character from the short stories. Because she's like, I could have saved him, but I didn't.
Whoops.
Except, realistically, no.
Yeah.
Realistically, she couldn't have. Our boy was gonna die
got
anyways.
caught lacking.
Yeah, he was gonna die anyways. But he died doing the right thing.
Yeah. Also, Skygraph. Man, doing the right thing sucks.
Yeah, speaking of, yeah. Skygraph's like, because, like you said, they get one stop away, and then they're like, oh, we gotta go to Dalna. And Sky's like,
I really don't want to go to Dalton.
and like, Sky almost pulls rank on them.
It's like,
No, in fact, it's not almost. Sky does pull rank on them.
and like, she has got everything ready to go. All she has to do is hit the button.
And Sky's like, nah, I'm captain of this ship. I hired y'all on, not the other way around. And then eventually they manage to talk them into it.
That fucking intense group persuasion check. And she's like, fine.
Yeah.
And like she says,
That-
doing
yeah,
the right
they
thing
do
sucks.
that, yeah.
And Rupert like, no, it doesn't. And I'm like, shut up, Rupert. You're right most of the time, but this is one where I'm like,
Y'all are like almost there.
y'all are like almost there. And also, I don't disagree
Honestly-
with why Sky, because Sky doesn't want to go to Planet X because, oh, it's
Or
this
does
mystical
wanna-
healing place.
Sky does want to go to Planet X.
She does want to go to Planet X.
They do.
But not for the reasons
No.
of
They
everyone else.
they want to go to find their dad.
That's why. That's why she wants to go. She.
He would, because the art is more he, but like they go by they them.
Oh. Sorry, I guess they.
Yeah.
I keep.
Yeah.
Why do I keep thinking that Sky is a girl? They're not.
No. It's all right. It's hey, don't beat yourself up too hard on it. I just wanted to make sure we have it right. But yeah, they and honestly, I don't see why they couldn't do both because they don't. So
All you would have to do is go.
they
back.
don't even have to. They don't really even have to
Once you
go
get
to
done
the
with
surface.
Dalna-
So here's my thing. They could have gone the one more jump to Planet X, created the hyperspace route using that last jump, because that's what hyperspace prospectors do, and they were tracking their path.
Yeah.
So they just track that last destination. They don't even have to go onto the planet or anything. They now know where the planet is. Go to Dalna after that.
Yep.
It would be a couple hours longer to a day longer, depending on how far of a jump. But they could have done both.
They could have. But also, even at the end of this book, they could have delayed their like return for like a day or two. Because all you would have to do is go back to.
I also don't know. Yeah, I also don't know why it ends the way it does. Because they could have reunited with everybody, everybody's safe, and then they could have been like, "All right, well, let's continue our journey to Planet X."
Yeah, it's just a. It feels like a. We didn't
It's
feel like it.
It's almost a nothing burger.
Yeah, it's like.
Almost. Like I said, if it wasn't for the character development, this book would be a nothing burger. But
If it wasn't for the character development and also the fact that we need to get communication back to the Dalnan sector somehow.
Which, I mean, technically Cataclysm gets us there. They just don't explain the how.
Yeah,
They just
this
go,
explains the how
they just
of
say,
it.
yeah, they just go, hey, Malo got it back online. And
Yeah.
then that's all we know in Cataclysm. This book explains the how of it all. And I think, even though I'm joking that it's a nothing burger, it's not. It's a good book.
It's like, I just want to find my dad.
Um,
That's all Sky wants.
I
She
think
doesn't care about the
I think
hyperspace
all the
route.
I think all of this is going to be resolved in Path of Vengeance because we know from the cover that they're on Planet X.
Although one of the more funny aspects is how Felix just kind of gives up.
Yeah, Felix is like
he's like, whatever. I'm not gonna
He's
fucking. What am I gonna do? Run away?
he's also like, we both believe in the Force, we just believe in it differently.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like Felix ends up like he's no longer a member of the Path really by the end of the book.
It's like, I don't know what bullshit is going on Dalna or Jeddah
And Planet X.
and Planet X, but I don't want any.
I just want my family.
I want my family, and we'll go back to my old home and grow crops.
Yeah.
We'll go farm algae.
All right. So that's really our thoughts on the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a short book.
Yeah, it's 160 pages.
Yeah. Like I said, if you like the characters, it delivers on character development.
Also, Spence's reasoning for, like, not allowing Das to go on any more spacefaring adventures. I'm like, I get it. You guys were in...
Y'all were marooned.
Y'all were marooned on, like, the shittiest place to be marooned.
So, I'm gonna have to give this book like a 7.
Okay.
Almost 6.5. I'm almost...
Yeah.
I'm almost at that point where it's a 6.5, but...
I'm about there as well. It's not a bad book,
No.
but I'm not impressed by it.
No.
I'm not disappointed in it either.
Yeah.
Like, this would be a C on a test.
Yeah. Like, it's a...
Like, you did enough to pass.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but it's not great. I think that might have to do with the fact
I think it's also, I know Tessa Gratton can do better. Because once again, this was a co-author for Path of Deceit.
Really?
Yeah. Because Justina Ireland and Tessa Gratton wrote Path of Deceit together.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, we know Tessa can do much better.
Mm.
I also think, though, I think in the case of this book, it's similar to some other books where, for the High Republic, which just, like, we had to get to a point.
It's, like, this is an
important part.
It's important, but it's very dry.
Yeah. And that doesn't make a book bad.
Yep.
It just makes it a little bit harder to enjoy.
Yeah, but I also kind of thought, like, maybe it's because...
But we're also not 100% the audience for this book either.
That's true.
It's a children's book.
Yeah.
This is the junior novel.
This is for
Not even the young adults. This is the junior novel. This is middle school age readers.
middle and elementary school, and I'm like, I can't... I don't want to be incredibly harsh to this book.
Like, I feel like
it's for children.
because I think as a middle schooler, I would have enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It's a fun adventure. It's just not for the overall story of the High Republic. It's important, but not the most important.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can make the same argument for Hidden City.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know why we gave that a little bit more credit. I mean, it's about the same.
Why are we so against this one?
I still recommend it. I think it's a fun book still. I don't know. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
And I'm not, and in fact, I love Tessa's writing. I think she writes it well. She does. Or they write it well. Yeah. Tessa writes it well. I don't know.
Mm.
There's something about this where I'm like, I think it's that I wanted them to get to Planet X.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Like, we talked about this in the car.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the car.
I feel lied to.
Yeah, like, I feel cheated out on, because I wanted at least... So when we got to the halfway point and we still weren't at Planet X, I was like, okay, they're going to say Planet X for, like, the last couple chapters, and there's going to be a big thing. And that didn't happen.
Nope, it didn't.
And like,
welcome to Dalna. I hope you're okay, because a lot of your friends are dead, Rupert.
Yeah. And so, like...
What?
I wish we had at least had gotten one chapter on Planet X.
Yeah. Did see Das get eaten by a mushroom. That was... That's a thing that happens in this book.
But once again, I don't hate the book.
Yeah, it's not...
It's just
bad.
one of those things where it's marketed a
I-
certain way, and I think it should have lived up to that marketing. Because you tell me Quest for Planet X, and I think, oh, we're going to finally go to Planet X. Which, I mean, technically we've been to before, because
Yeah.
the Storm comic shows us what Planet X looks like. And yes, it does live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Except for the nameless being there. But it lives up to the hype. It's a
was
very
like,
colorful planet.
Why are there so... I guess this does answer the question of why aren't there more nameless creatures on Planet X? I guess it's because the path just kept grabbing them off.
I think they kept also, like, breeding them outside of the
Yeah.
system. But yeah, once again, I'm gonna leave it at a 7 because I do want to recommend it to people. I don't want to be as harsh because it's not a bad book.
It's not.
I'd almost be willing to give it a 7.5 if we had gotten it in Planet X. No, but seriously, I'll give it a 7. I'd say if you're a High Republic fan and you're trying to check out every book, it's one. Yeah, don't skip it.
Yeah. It's not a necessary stop, but it's not going to hurt anything.
At least until we read Quest for Vengeance, and then we find out, oh, it is necessary.
Yeah.
Watch Quest of Vengeance. Be like, no, you should have, or not Quest of Path of. Watch Path
Quest of Vengeance.
Watch Path of Vengeance. Be like, yeah, Quest
Path of the Hidden
yeah.
City.
Watch Path of Vengeance. Be like, oh yeah, Quest for Planet X was actually very important. Watch that happen, but no.
Yeah.
And I'll happily retract my thoughts if that turns out to be the case, which, because I'm not afraid to be like, oh yeah, I was wrong. But for now, it's a 7. It's definitely not as good as Cataclysms.
Yeah.
Best High Republic book up there with, Fallen Star.
Yeah. Fallen
Uh,
Star hurt me.
yeah. Next week, Mando season 3.
Yes.
And we might have a guest. I'm trying to finish up the booking of that.
It's weird for me to see like Mando stuff because I watched the entirety of season 3 with you.
And you watch the ending.
The
You watched the
4
last.
episodes
Yeah,
out of,
you
like,
watched the last.
season
So you watched
1.
half of season 1,
Yeah.
which I fell asleep while you were watching the
Yeah.
finale of season 1.
I'm like
Gideon's entrance.
Oh yeah, I'm like
Gideon's
So-
entrance is amazing.
it is.
You have what I want. Which is
Chicken man.
which I guess technically he enters in episode 7,
Yeah.
and then 8 continues that with
The chicken man.
You have what I want.
Also, by the way, Miss Cara Dune, I've got a new gun. You know the one that killed all of your friends?
I made an upgraded version.
Because that's what Moff Gideon does.
He
He just wants to unlock all of his skill trees. That's what he wants.
We'll discuss this more next week.
Yeah.
Because I want to save that. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That's youtube.com/Escape Reality Films. If you're watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/Escape Reality Films. Be sure to follow or subscribe to us. Thank you to our Patreon members, Jennifer Brantley. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. If you're watching on YouTube, it's linked down below. I think it's also linked on the Twitch page. And then if you can also, and shout out, speaking of, to our Twitch member, Matt. And then where else? You can find us also on Discord, where you can become part of the community and come hang out with us. You can find the link down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, I know it's on the main page somewhere. I think it'll say Discord and then have the little link icon. Also, shout out to Gamers and Geeks, our local gaming shop, who rent out this space for us to the Mobcast Network, who we also want to shout out to. That's Scotty's group that I help out with. And we do a podcast in this room as well for them. And that's Cult Movie Cantina, where we talk about cult movies. I think this week is the D&D episode, I think. Where we're going to... Or, no. D&D episode came out this past week. This week is going to be our off week, where we talk about it's cult meeting, so we just talk about whatever. But this past week, we talked about the D&D movie. Because we've been trying to do more new movies as part of our cult. Usually it's like older 80s and 70s and 90s cult movies, stuff that got appreciated later on. And you can find me there as well. And that you can find them at youtube.com/Mopcast Network. And they use Mopcast Network for everything except for Facebook, which is Cult Movie Cantina. You can find them in any podcasting app. And you'll find me there. I help produce and co-host with them. And let's see, what else? Gamers and Geeks is our local gaming shop.
We've already got that
Yep,
one.
yep. If you're ever in the Mobile, Alabama area, you can find them on Moffett and House Ferry, Moffett and House Ferry, where they got all your gaming needs. Card games, board games, tabletop, all that fun stuff. Arcade in the back, which you can pay for the day, get a $10 wristband, and it's free play machines. And connected to them is Engage Gaming. It's in the same building. And they do like a video game hourly rental fee where you can play on the consoles inside the shop. So they got PlayStation 5s, Xbox Series X's, PC, VR, all that good stuff, and they provide the games as well. So you pay an hourly fee to play on the machines within the shop. But if you get a monthly membership, you get a reduced rate on that hourly fee. They also do like birthday parties and other events that you can plan out with them. I think I actually covered everything pretty quick, other than your thing.
Yeah, I was like, damn, you're really speed running things today.
I did it really well though.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and talk about your D&D game that you play.
So every Sunday you can catch me over with most of my friends over at the Steam all caps _ dungeon
Over on Twitch.
Yep, where we play in Trials of Nebu. So we've kind of got everything done. We've sort of sorted out Nissa, John's character, like their problem. Unfortunately, we may have attracted the attention of some other groups in the territory, but we've got 2 days of downtime. And unlike everyone else who might go shopping or do something like that,
oh, no shopping montage.
I am not a believer in doing that. I'm not a fan of shopping episodes, but I understand that they can be fun.
Yeah. It depends
instead,
on the
I'm
player.
having Simon wander around and ask people questions, and might also be blackmailing a guy using his brother.
It's very you.
What?
It's very you to play a character that does that.
Oh, to wander around and ask questions
And blackmail.
or blackmail?
Both. Both. The answer's both.
Oh yeah. You got an example?
Sylvester.
Oh, Sylvester. That's not blackmailing.
No, but he
But
comes
like
close.
intimidating people. Oh yeah, that like
Sips and Pants would definitely blackmail people if they could.
Yeah, I think they have.
Yeah. I think Sips blackmailed a Sith Lord, in fact.
When did I do this?
Or Pants did. Pants did.
I feel like Pants would have.
I feel like Pants tried to blackmail Angrel.
What?
Before trying to sniper him. Which he tried to snipe. I think he missed the first time, then he killed him the second time.
Whoops.
I think it's how that went down.
Sorry, I fucking...
And he only did that because that Angrel became JP's master and was way worse than Malgus was.
Yeah. Actually, that was the reason. I was like, this is my commanding officer. You're being a dickhead.
Yeah, I like JP. Which we all love JP.
Yeah.
I miss hanging out with JP.
Oh, man. Like, realistically, Pants probably shouldn't have bothered because that's how Sith are, but I
Yeah.
guess I was like, you know what? Fuck this lightning torture bullshit.
Yep. No, y'all did blackmail Sith Lords. Y'all blackmailed the Sith Council.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's how JP got out of working for Angrel. Because, no, you didn't kill him, but you wounded him heavily enough.
Yeah.
And then JP and you blackmailed the Dark Council into promoting JP out of apprenticehood. So that way... Oh, no. JP was allowed to pick his next master.
Yep.
And that was because y'all killed... I forget, Teneb.
Yep.
And y'all figured out about the Children of the Emperor secret.
Oh, yeah.
And y'all blackmailed the Dark Council going, hey, we know about the Children of the Emperor. We won't tell anybody, but you gotta...
Oh, yeah.
You gotta give JP essentially a promotion.
Yeah. That is such a weird... I fucking forgot we did that.
Yeah, because y'all wouldn't have killed Teneb either until he killed Maggot. And
Yeah.
y'all were like, oh, we liked Maggot.
I think it's another case of everyone in this room knows the secret.
And
but only one of us
can walk out with
can
it.
walk out with it.
And Teneb was like, y'all know too much. And
Yeah.
and he didn't realize y'all were in the room at the time. If I remember correctly, he only thought it was him and
So
Maggot.
my understanding is that we were all of that particular scene was we're all walking down the street.
Oh, and then Maggot
like,
said too much.
and like Teneb just goes and like kills Maggot.
That's
And
because Maggot said something that set him
mu-
off.
What happened, as I recall it, is that happens, and as Maggot is saying things, I remember Pants stepped in between,
Getting ready to defend.
JP's character, Chikara. I remember Pants getting in between Chikara because I'm like, he's either going to swing on her, and I'm like, well, Pants understands that he is less valuable as like just a grunt than Chikara is.
Mhm.
So if this doesn't kill him, I'll be in the perfect spot. But
And then,
also-
unfortunately, it was
also he
Maggot
killed
that.
Maggot.
Unfortunately, it was Maggot that got the hit first.
Yeah.
And then y'all were like, "Well, we liked Maggot."
Fuck you.
By the way, that's another reason to watch the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Because all that audio is captured
Yep.
on the
We
YouTube
have
channel.
Sylvester being an ass.
That too. We also got that. For the Star Wars stuff, that's our Old Republic campaign. And it's all in a playlist. So if you
Yep.
find youtube.com/Escape Reality Films, you can find the old Star Wars The Old Republic RPG
Yeah.
playlist, and you can find that storyline.
God, Pants is like,
That's the Blood of the Empire storyline, I think is the
Yeah.
name of the episode for that, if y'all are looking for that specific episode. I think it's a Battle of something, and then Blood of the Empire.
yeah.
I think it's the...
Although the most like fuckery thing I've ever had Pants do is just tell a bunch of the soldiers under his command to go and steal a bunch of shit from like a Republic base to fuck with them.
Yeah.
Like,
That was Battle of Bethalia, I think.
yeah.
That's one of the last episodes that made it, I think.
Yeah. Because we lost a bunch.
Because we lost a bunch of audio, which I do want to... I want to bring back the Old Republic campaign, but I'd probably reset us a little bit back.
Yeah.
So that way we can re-record some of those events, because there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, Battle of Begarin, that's the name of the episode with Tenobin.
Okay.
Yeah, so if y'all are looking for that specific arc, it's the Battle of Begarin.
I remember like.
Because we do the big battle,
Yeah.
and then Tenob is like sneaking in to assassinate.
I remember like you were like, hey, do you want to have your soldiers dig trenches? And I'm like, why the fuck would we dig trenches?
When we could just run in.
Because it's like,
trench
I
warfare.
understand that they have fucking air support. Trenches are not good against air support.
Yeah.
It's literally better for us.
But
to
y'all
just
have air support
charge.
too, so it wasn't that, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that's it.
check out Steam_Dungeon.
Steam_Dungeon, Trials of Naboo, 5 to 7 Central Standard Time, PM.
Yep, and all that is listed down below if you're watching on YouTube in the little description box. So the link is there, the time is there. So all the reasons to not miss it.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be everything for this episode.
Yeah.
Next week, once again, Mando, Season 3. And we'll see you all next time. I've spoken.
Later. Have a good one. He still has to go and cut the thing off, so I'm look, y'all just be safe, okay?
Feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm up in Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm on solo, I'm on solo, I'm on solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but I answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbonite's off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the carbonite is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. The shades of pepper up my eyes. I'm jumping I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my falcon, Wookiee at my side. I'm solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, solo. Now I'm feeling how I should join the alliance, it feels so good. Oh, stop feeling misunderstood. Back in the game, who knew I would? Oh, so fly time I spread my wings. Loving myself makes me wanna sing. No, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Told me get my act together, now I got my act together. Yeah, now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the common night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. Shades of cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. Solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my falcon, Wookiee at my side. I'm solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. I'm Han Solo. Solo. Finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but I answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon night's off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, told me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the common night is gone. I'm moving on.